In terms of consistency, the Grunt is the one character in Hogs of War that has remained pretty much the same from the stage of concept
Hello darkness, my old friend,
into the final version of the game. The Grunt is the very first character you're introduced to in the single player campaign and is indeed the lowest rank pig you can be.
hello darkness.
But that doesn't necessarily mean that they're bad. With a starting health of 50 and equipped with a bayonet, rifle and grenades, the Grunt doesn't exactly stand out from the other characters. From a gameplay standpoint, the player should have all of their pigs upgraded by the end of the first island, so the Grunt's role tends to stop there. However, should the player end up having any of their pigs killed multiple times in later missions, they will end up losing them and drafted pigs will be brought in and, well, you guessed it, drafted pigs will start at the very bottom of the chain as a Grunt once again. But that's not to say that the Grunts are useless, as it has been proven that it is possible to complete the entire game, hard mode included, with just a team of Grunts. If you want to see more on that, then do check out Herpdup's channel. It will be linked at the end of the video, but he does exactly that and goes through with a squad of Grunts and takes on the entire game. It's pretty awesome to see. So we know about the Grunts in today's game, but how exactly have they changed when it comes to development? I know at the start of the video I said that the Grunts are the one character that have remained consistent, but there is some interesting alterations made along the way. Back in the early days, the Grunt had 80 health and was indeed still equipped with the bayonet, rifle and grenade combo, but with an additional twist. The Grunt had the ability to build pillboxes. In fact, it was the only character that had this ability. The engineer class at this point was more focused on repairing buildings, so the Grunt was the key line of both attack and defense when it came to constructing this vehicle. The pillbox could be built into holes and would spring out of the ground, similar to the way it does in Command & Conquer. Once construction is complete, the pillbox could then be occupied by a single pig who may defend it by shooting through the armoured slots in the sides. The pig inside would be visually compromised though, as they could only see out of the slot that they are facing, meaning that players could sneak up to the pillbox's blind spot and just lob in a few grenades. It's funny how one small ability can just drastically change the dynamic of a character. Like, building is such a huge thing in the early versions of the game, but I feel like it's been given to the Grunt because he doesn't really have anything else at this stage. He has no specialism. If anything, he shouldn't have anything. The Grunt, for me, is meant to teach the player the fundamentals of the game through the use of the bayonet, the rifle and the grenades, teaching the key elements of each weapon type so the player can get to grips with how each item works, how it behaves, and can generally be used within the game. The build ability kind of piles onto that too fast. I mean, just imagine starting mission 1 as a new player and being able to build a pillbox. For starters, you wouldn't know what the pillbox is or how it's used, so why should this basic class be given such a large ability? I know this is the very early version of the game, but it does make you question the devs' thinking at the time, and indeed the reasons as to why the Grunt was then changed. The later versions of the game sees the Grunt with several more abilities, but these were given to the majority of pigs primarily for the use of reconnaissance, which we have already gone over in a video. Moving on in time then, and the Grunt has progressed into the state that it remains today, with the exception of health, as the alpha stage had the Grunt at 100, not 50, but I mean all of the classes and characters had different health pools in the alpha compared to today. But the weapons are what you'd expect them to be, with the construction ability being removed. And would you look at that, we have come full circle. In conclusion, the Grunt is the player's introduction to Hogs of War. This character teaches us the basics of the game, the core weapon mechanics that are used throughout, melee, shooting, projectiles, and with those fundamentals, you are then able to go off and understand everything else. As soon as you have the knowledge of melee weapons, of rifles, and of grenades and shells, you can basically take on the entire game if you wish. I mean, it really just comes down to accuracy at the end of the day, but all I can really say is don't underestimate the Grunt. And in the meantime, I'll catch you guys later for the next one.
This is fucking annoying. I don't know why you people are watching this shit anymore.
destination.